Good evening, race fans, and welcome here tonight, number 2 of the 9th annual H&H Sign Supply Fall Brawl. Tonight's action features the late model stock cars taking on single car 2-lap time trials, followed by a 50-lap pole dash with a top 10 invert live from the Five Flag Speedway right here in Pensacola, Florida. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight in the booth is Nick Stein, with Christian Hill working the controls tonight as our producer, with camera angles provided by Dougie Beard. This week of racing is one that short track iRacers look forward to every single year. The SARA series is filled with some of the toughest racing competition on the service, and these drivers are looking to show off their talents on one of sim racing's largest annual stages. Nick, looking back on last night's event, it was Josh Cottle picking up the victory in night number 1 of action. But tonight, as the drivers get ready to hit the track, why don't you run us through tonight's format and maybe tell us a little bit more about the venue?
Well, tonight, of course, it's the 2-lap qualifying, as you mentioned. So these guys are going to get to take on 2 laps worth of time trials and set the fastest time they can. And, of course, it's already a set order. So once we get through all of the time trials, they're going to have the pole dash, and only the top 10, or I believe it's going to be an average of your time trial and where you finish in the pole dash is going to be what determines the top 10 for the actual main event Thursday night. So a little bit confusing, but once we get through the show, or once we get a little bit further in the show, I think both of us can explain it a little bit better. But for now, yes, it's just average of the time trials, and your pole dash time is going to be what sets the top 10.
And like you mentioned, it will be a bit of a combination of the time trial and the pole dash. As it's indicated here, the combined results from time trials and the pole dash will determine the starting lineup for the top 10 cars, with the lowest combined total earning the pole award, and tiebreakers will be based off of the time trial. Like we mentioned last night, we were here for the weekly series shootout. It was Josh Cottle edging out Ryan Kuhn for the victory, and I think we're going to expect a lot of the same racing when it comes to the pole dash a little bit later tonight, Nick. But if you're Ryan Kuhn behind Josh Cottle here tonight, are you going to use that bumper?
I think if it comes down to it, and it comes down to a better starting position Thursday night, I would probably use the bumper if I'm Ryan Kuhn in that situation. But of course, there's a reason he's on track and we're in the booth, as he is sitting at a cool 10,000 I rating. So maybe he knows a little bit more than we do. But if I were him, I would definitely use that bumper if it does come down to it once again.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Ryan Kuhn with the extremely high I rating. I believe he's number 3 on the service behind Ty Majeski and one of the Coke drivers. Don't have his name in front of me here, but definitely one of the best on the sim here tonight. And of course, speaking of that pole dash, there is some money on the line here tonight. $15 to the pole winner and $40 or $25 to the fastest car in single car time trial. So $40 on the line here tonight, and that's a nice way to start the week here as we look ahead to the Fall Brawl 250 coming up on Thursday. And Nick, like you mentioned, we are setting the stage as well for qualifying night tomorrow night, which will split the field up into heat races and the LCQs to set everything from 11th on back. But as you see, track information up there on the screen now. 15 degrees of banking in both sets of corners, 9 degrees of banking on the straightaway here at the half mile Five Flag Speedway here in Pensacola, Florida. And we're about a minute away from kicking off our single car qualifying here tonight. And as we do await the cars to get on the racetrack for single car qualifying here tonight, why don't we give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors of this event? Of course, H&H Sign Supply. Whether you're a professional graphic artist who needs vinyl sign making supplies or you're a crafter with a big project, H&H Sign Supply can fulfill your needs for inkjet, printable vinyl, wide format printers, sign blanks, and stakes, banners, cutters, and so much more. Visit them at hhsignsupply.com and use code SARA15, SARA15, for 15% off your order. Another sponsor of this event is Race1wraps.com. Race1wraps is a full-service design entity specializing in full-color wraps, vinyl lettering, and apparel printing and distribution. Visit them at Race1wraps.com for more information. Kato Captures bringing you the best appearing paint scheme of this event. Kato Captures is an iRacing photography company that will capture high quality photos of any car or paint scheme you want. Message the Kato Captures Facebook page for high quality photos of your car. And of course, SARA Next Gen templates. Get the most accurate next gen manufacturer graphics for your iRacing super late model or late model stock, complete with 5-star decals and realistic shading for the Mustang, Camaro, and Camry. Templates available for purchase at racesara.com. And it does look like we're getting set to kick off our single car qualifying here tonight. Slated to go off first is driver of the number 55 machine out of North Carolina for the Shed Motorsports, the Elite Performance Industries Privateer Race Products Alcova Mortgage of Josh Parrish. And Nick, looking at the list of drivers we have here with us tonight, do you want to throw a dart into the wind here and pick your pole sitter?
Man, it's really hard to tell with still 58 cars left to qualify. But if I had to pick one, just one out of everyone here, I really like the look of the 13 of Josh Cottle. Like we saw him last night in that just for fun race last night. He was really quick, and like I said, if I had to pick one, of course, it's so incredibly hard to pick one. I would pick him.
Josh Cottle, a very solid pick. And, you know, looking at last night, we saw Dylan Bates in the 91 machine very quick throughout the early portions of the race. Kind of fell off late, but I'm going to go with Dylan Bates in car 91 to take the pole here tonight. And, you know, we made these picks, and it could be someone from way left field that ends up taking it. As we do see Josh Parrish in that 55 machine coming out onto the racetrack. He's going to kick off our single car runs here tonight. Let's see what kind of a lap time he can put down. As you see that beautiful machine working its way down through turns 1 and 2. Waiting for a time to come on the board. Josh Parrish down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Great camera angles here, of course, provided by Dougie Beard and a producer, Christian Hill, here tonight. Green flag is out for Josh Parrish, as we'll see what kind of a lap time he can put down to set the standard here tonight and kick off our pole qualifying. Josh Parrish going to come around. Looks like he has just wrapped up his run. We're going to wait to get a time on that. My timing and scoring seems to be acting up a little bit here, as it looks like the second car in line, Connor Blaze, is going to come on out here, Nick.
Connor Blaze, the 57 machine out of Connecticut, starting his first qualifying run. He takes the green flag here. And Connor Blaze, not a particularly known name, at least to me, but he seems to be really, really quick. So we'll have to see what he's able to set here on his first lap. Coming up off of turn number 4. Connor Blaze at the 57, going to set a 16.307 for his first lap. Of course, 5 flags being one of the more difficult short tracks out here. These guys are really going to have a big test in terms of getting as much as they can out of this car, with the Connor Blaze setting a 16.337 there on his second lap. That'll put him second on the board.
Kieran Church out onto the racetrack, the Velocity Motorsports number 22. Superior Performance Motorsports, the sponsor on board that machine here tonight. He's going to come around and take his first time on the charts here. This time, as he works his way down the back straightaway, gets a little bit slideways. Looks like some handling issues out of that number 22 machine as he comes off of turn number 4 across the line. 16.610 slots him in at third here after lap number 1. Going to look to pick up quite a bit here on lap number 2. Handling seems to be a little bit better as he comes off and 4 for the final time. Let's see what Kieran Church can put in the books. 16.310 keeps him at third on the charts.
Coming out next is going to be the 53 Kyle Salemi in the 63 machine out of New Hampshire for John Salemi Racing. Want to see if he can get going. Actually, I think there's someone else on track. It's Sean Hayes, excuse me. He's the next one on track. 16.298 for his first time lap. That's gonna put him up into second place. And we'll have to see what he can set here on a second lap. It really seems like these guys are struggling for grip out of 4 off of that second lap. And for his final lap, it's gonna be a 16.429. So pretty good showing there for the 99 of Sean Hayes.
Now out onto the racetrack, the 63 for John Salemi Racing. Victory Fuel, Middlesex Gases. It's Kyle Salemi. He's going to come around and take the green flag this time. We'll see what kind of a time he can put in the books. Quick time so far. Josh Parrish with a 16.278. That's after 4 drivers in the book. 16.426. Lap number 1 here for Kyle Salemi. That has him slotted in 5th of 5 thus far as he works his way down through 3 and 4 for the final time. Let's see what kind of a lap time he can put on the boards if he can move up with a 16.498 slower on lap number 2 for Kyle Salemi.
Sean Cool, the next one on track, the Velocity Motorsports machine, the number 24, starting his first qualifying run of the night. Going down into turn 1, of course, as I said, this track very, very tricky for these drivers, trying to get as much speed as they can out of these cars. And through 3 and 4, which seems to be the more difficult corner out of the 4 that you have here off of turn 4. First lap, a 16.336 for Sean Cool in the 24 out of Colorado. Sean Cool is. We'll have to see what he is able to set here on his second qualifying run. Coming up off of turn number 4, Sean Cool, 3.43 for his second lap. That's going to be slower, and that will put him in 5th position.
Riley Stenjum next out onto the racetrack, driving for the posse here tonight. Epic Media, Toby Race Products machine. The driver out of Wisconsin going to look to put his name to the top of the charts, working his way down through 3 and 4 here, leading up to the green flag. Let's see what Riley Stenjum can do here 16.892 on lap number 1 for Riley Stenjum. Definitely the slowest lap we've seen thus far. We'll see if he can pick up here on lap number 2 in that number 77 machine. Off of turn number 4 here at Five Flags Speedway, Riley Stenjum with a 16.259 to the top of the charts. Great pickup for Riley Stenjum.
Next on track, the 81 of Rick Rube out of Ohio in the Revelry Racing Camp. Gonna be starting his qualifying run here. That 81 machine looking mighty nice, I will say. We'll see if that nice paint scheme can turn into a really quick lap here for the 81 of Rick Rube coming up off of turn 4. What will his first lap be? 16.423. Not gonna be the fastest out of the bunch so far, but he should be able to at least pick up a little bit of time here going through turns 3 and 4 on his second time lap off of turn 4. Rick Rube, 377. That's going to keep him in the exact same position he was, but he does improve.
Next out onto the racetrack, driving the number 23 Ryko Gossip Bus Lines TH2 tire formula machine for Aftershock Setup Solutions. It's Caleb Hall as he comes around, going to take the green flag, or just took the green flag, coming around to wrap up lap number 1. Let's see what Caleb Hall can do here. Looks like he's going to put down a 16.292, so third here on lap number 1 for Caleb Hall. And looks like he's going to do a one and done in that number 23.
Dylan Bates in the 91 machine going to be rolling out for his run out of Missouri for the Velocity Motorsports Camp TB Enterprises machine. Going through turns 3 and 4, getting ready to start his run. He's going to take it all the way up next to the wall, get that really good run off the corner. And green flag is out for the 91 machine on his run. Through 1 and 2. Nice and clean. We'll have to see what he's able to run here. Of course, he was really quick in last night's event. He's going to take it to the top and go for a second lap qualifying run here, so not expecting a very competitive time on this first lap. I'll tell you anyway, it's a 17 flat there for the 91 of Dylan Bates. Really saving those tire temps for this second lap here through turns 3 and 4. What will Dylan Bates set? Coming up off of turn 4, 91 Dylan Bates. 16.312 for the 91 of Dylan Bates.
On the racetrack now, the driver of the Superior Performance Motorsports Revelry Racing 09. It's the Alabama Hammer, Elliott Carlson, coming around to take his first lap here at Five Flags Speedway. Let's see where he can stack up among the drivers thus far. I believe we're about 10 cars in here so far. 16.760 for Elliott Carlson. Let's see if he can have a big pickup here on lap number 2. We've seen that from the quick drivers thus far. Slower lap 1, dominant lap 2 as he comes around to take the checkered flag. 16.323. That slots Elliott Carlson in at 8th.
Next on track, Jonathan Adkins in the 17 machine out of South Carolina for Shock Guy Racing Performance, the Studio 10 Wraps Miller Family Trucking paint scheme on racetrack right now. First lap for Jonathan Adkins here. He's not going to be doing what we've seen other people do, taking it to the high line on that first lap off of turn 4. Jonathan Adkins going to set a 2.86. That'll put him up into third position on the boards on his second lap. Will he be able to improve here? Through turns 3 and 4, coming up off of turn 4, he's going to get a little bit loose, but that does that mean more lap time. A 3.50 on his second lap. That's going to stick him third position.
Strong run there for Jonathan Adkins as Alex McCollum out on the racetrack in the JDR Graphics Elite Performance Industries, the shop machine out of North Carolina. He just took the green flag, going to come around, put down lap number 1 this time. Beautiful paint scheme on that number 1 machine. JDR Graphics, the sponsor of that one. 16.208 for Alex McCollum, and that puts him to the top of the charts. Let's see if he does a second lap. He does opt to do one here, and let's see what he can do here on lap number 2. Not expecting him to pick up here, but if he does, that's going to be outstanding. A 16.345 for Alex McCollum on lap number 2. Quickest thus far.
Hitting the track now, the 25 machine, Devin Rogers out of Ohio for Revelry Racing. Dante Curtis Designs, driving DJ Network, and Ryko Performance car on track now. what will he be able to set for his first lap here? Expecting a lot of good things out of that Ryko camp. Of course, Ryko dominating the A Open scene when it comes to iRacing official races. But coming off of turn 4 for his first lap, a 16.402. But of course, we've been seeing this slower first laps with dominating second laps, as you had mentioned earlier. Through turns 3 and 4, Devin Rogers. What will he set here? 4.49 slower on that second lap for Devin Rogers.
Next out onto the racetrack, driver the Impel Motorsports M9 Performance Team 53 machine, driving the 8 out of Massachusetts. It's John Willett, as he's going to come around and take his first time this time by. Looks like a little bit of a slower build up here on lap number 1. Maybe looking for that double shot that we've seen out of some of the quicker guys thus far. 16.368 goes 12th quickest here on lap number 1. Is John Willett going to be looking to pick up a 10th or 2 here on his second lap. Charges down into turn number 3, rocking it on that yellow line. Slides up here off of turn number 4. John Willett to the line with a 16.388. Goes slower on lap number 2, currently scored in 12th.
Hitting the track now, the 14 of Ben Nile for the Down East Chassis Works Toxic Media Solutions 3-2's racing machine on track now for his one and only qualifying run of the night. Through 3 and 4, will he set a good lap here to start? Or are we going to see another case of slower first lap, faster second lap? First lap, a 16.374. That puts him below John Willett, who had just run. Going down the backstretch through 3 and 4. Ben Nile looking for a better lap than what he had set there off of turn number 4. 16.376, 0.02 of a second slower there. That's how close it could be at a short track.
Yeah, definitely marginal here at Five Flags Speedway and most short tracks. On the track now, though, driver to the number 31, Cotto Capture, Justin Brooks Designs, Elite Performance Industries machine out of North Carolina. It's Chase Robertson, as he's going to come around and put down his first lap here today. Again, Cotto Capture is one of our sponsors of the event here tonight on board that 31 machine. 16.906 here on lap number 1 for Chase Robertson. Actually a 69.86, as he's going to come around, look for a massive pickup here on lap number 2 off of turn number 4. Chase Robertson to the line. 16.248 puts him to second early on here in qualifying.
Hitting the track now, the 17 of Josh Oswald out of, lost where I was, out of Pennsylvania for Velocity Motorsports, the Jet Designs Griff Dozer Enterprises machine on his first timed lap. Through turns 3 and 4, will this be another heater? Josh Oswald off of turn 4, 16.378 for his first lap. Gonna put him near the bottom in terms of time set so far. Waiting for a second lap here. You know, it's interesting. I'm not really seeing a lot of second faster laps for these guys, which is a lot of what we were gonna think is his second lap is gonna be a 5.17.
Yeah, we definitely saw it earlier on with a couple of the drivers, but I think now as the track's starting to heat up, a bit more rubber going down, these drivers can just go out and absolutely send it, which is what we're starting to see here. Out onto the racetrack, driver the number 19 Speed Ranch Shock Eye Racing Performance machine out of Ontario, Canada. It's Willie Howells. He's going to come around, put down lap number 1 here in the book. 16.364, 13th quick for Willie Howells. Kind of a fun story here. I actually commentated one of his real racing performances this season at the Peterborough Speedway, so pretty cool to be calling this here tonight. Willie Howells comes across the line, lap number 2, 16.333, and that puts him 12th on the charts.
On track now, the 44 of RJ Williams, the High Rock Vodka, Sugarlands Distillery, Edwards Inflatables Huffman Racing Machine out of North Carolina. 44 of RJ Williams on his first timed lap here. Through turns 3 and 4. Again, we've mentioned it a couple of times tonight. Turn 3 and 4 being incredibly difficult for these guys. First time lap, the 16.324. That'll put him about middle of the table in terms of laps set so far. Will we see a faster second lap here? Odds are slim, as that track temp is still creeping up here off of turn 4. RJ Williams, 4.13 for a second lap, slower once again.
On the racetrack now, driving for the posse here tonight. Another driver out of Ontario, Canada. It's Parker Travs, one of the top Canadian Legend Car drivers currently out on the circuit. I believe he picked up the Canadian Legend Car Series Championship this year, so a great up-and-coming driver in the Legend Car ranks. He's going to come around and put down lap number 1 here. 16.274, fourth quick on lap number 1 for Parker Travs. He's going to look to pick up here on lap number 2 in that number 60 machine. Let's see if he can maybe gain about a half a tenth here as he's going to come around lap number 2, 16.534. So fourth quick for Parker Travs.
Dylan Calabro on track now in the 71 machine, the first of the Ryan Kuhn Motorsports machines, setting his first lap. Here in the Hedgers South Coast Power Equipment, Gary's General Maintenance, and Yacht Club Soda machine. That 71's looking mighty nice with that pink gas that's coming out off of turn number 4, getting a little bit loose. It's going to be a 2.86. That'll put him 6th quick right now on the boards. 1,000th faster than Jonathan Adkins, who we saw running a little bit earlier in this session. Coming off of turn number 4. Is it going to be a faster lap for the 71? No, a 3.86, 1/10 exactly slower.
Well, Nick, I must say Yacht Club Soda sounds a little bit too fancy for me, but I'm sure it's great. As we see the Circuit World Dante Curtis Designs LeDuc Matthews Racing Machine driving the 03 tonight, it's Dante Curtis. He just took the green flag coming around to put down lap number 1 in the books, looking to beat a 16.208 set by Alex McCollum earlier tonight, going for the quicker lap 2 approach here. 16.923 on lap number 1 for Dante Curtis in the 03 machine. The North Carolina driver going to look to pick up on lap number 2. Full sends it off of turn number 4 with a 16.329, 15th quick for Dante Curtis.
On track now, the 6 machine, Joe Schaefer Jr. out of Wisconsin. The EPYK Media Dr. Noise paints the posse machine at number 6, looking mighty nice here as he's starting his first timed lap here. Looks like he's not going to take the faster second lap strategy here, going for it all on lap 1 off of turn number 4. 6 machine of Joe Schaefer Jr. with a 2.64. That's going to put him up in 4th position. Really good spot to be in this late into the session. We'll have to see as he's going to pull it off, and it's only going to be the 1 lap for the 6 machine.
Slated to go off next was Brad Carpenter in the 31. Doesn't look like he's going to pop out there for his time. So move the 86 of Justin Crow out onto the racetrack. Another Ryan Kuhn Motorsports machine. The Pedley Garage RKM Setup Shop Kyle Storm Racing machine out of right here in Pensacola, Florida. Justin Crow going to look to put it on the pole here at his home racetrack. Going to come around lap number 1 in the books for Justin Crow. 16.297, so 10th quick on lap number 1. Let's see if he can pick up here on lap number 2 and set himself into that top 5 or so, which I think is where you're going to want to be if you want a chance of that pole shootout tonight. Lap number 2 for Justin Crow, 16.395. Going to hold steady here in 10th position.
Coming onto the track now, the 17 of Alex Greats. Another Ryan Kuhn Motorsports machine, the RKM Setup Shop Alex Greats Racing Studio 10 wraps on track now. Looking to set a really, really good lap time for that Ryan Kuhn Motorsports camp. Looking for a second lap, fast lap here for the 17. 16.8 flat for the first lap. One of the faster times we've seen for those guys running for that second lap. Going down into turn 3 and 4, Alex Greats. Off of turn 4, that 17 machine looking mighty fast so far. 16.307 for the 17.
Out onto the racetrack now, it is Regan Perron driving the 117 machine. Black Flag Podcast Elite Performance Industries machine out of Massachusetts. He's going to come around here, just took the green flag. Going to be looking to take a quick lap number 1 here. Love the chrome numbers on the side of that machine. Looks like he's going to go for the build-up on lap number 1 and try to hit it up here on lap number 2. 16.860 on lap number 1. 1, currently 27th on the charts. See if he can pick up big time here on lap number 2. He's going to come around, dive it deep down into turn number 3, off of turn number 4, coming to the line. Regan Perron goes 16.282, 7th quick for Regan Perron.
Entering the track now, the 07 of Kyle Martinson, the California-based after setups. Ooh, gosh, I can't speak. After setup solutions, Ryko machine on track now. Finally got it out. English is not my strong suit apparently tonight.
Good work, Nick.
The 07 machine, Kyle Martinson, attempting his first timed lap here. Off of turn number 4, looks like he's going for the 1 lap shootout here. Off of 4, a 16.450. That's going to put him last on the boards now. Will he be able to improve here for the Ryko camp? Through turns 3 and 4, Kyle Martinson looking for any sort of improvement that he can get. Off of turn number 4, 16.453, just a tiny bit slower for the 07 of Kyle Martinson.
Out onto the racetrack, the Fred's Race Engine Design Steel Langford Racing, number 33 out of North Carolina. It is Steel Langford. Last night we saw him start pit side in the weekly series shootout, so look for him to try to get into the action here tonight. Gonna have to place up on the charts here as he comes around to finish lap number 1, 16.870 on lap number 1 for Steel Langford. Gonna come around here down the back straightaway, looking for a big pickup here on lap number 2. Gonna have to gain about 7/10 if he wants a chance at that pole shootout. Comes across the line this time. Steel Langford with a 16.310, 15th quick, not quick enough for the pole shootout.
Next on track is going to be the number 3 of Jason Lottridge, the Jet Designs Velocity Motorsports car out of California, hitting the track now. Just now starting his warm-up lap in that number 3 machine. I must say that 3 car, that is a very, very interesting paint scheme there. I actually like the way that thing looks. Coming off of 4 to start his timed lap. Jason Lottridge looking for a really, really good lap here to get that car up towards the front of this field and maybe get a chance at the pole shootout later on tonight. Through turns 3 and 4, Jason Lottridge coming up off the corner. First time lap to 16.486. That'll put him at the bottom of the charts now. Down the back straightaway, Jason Lottridge looking for any improvement possible. Of course, we've seen that second lap be marginally slower for a lot of the field tonight. Off of turn 4, 16.515 for Jason Lottridge.
Unfortunate run there for Jason Lottridge. Going to have to come through qualifying night tomorrow. But out onto the racetrack now, taking the green flag, the Lakotko Designs, Epic Media, the Posse 93 out of Wisconsin. It's James Pileski as he works his way down into turn number 3, looking for that quicker lap 2 approach here for Pileski. He's going to go set lap number 1 with a 16.772. So quicker lap number 1 for the drivers going for that lap 2 approach here for Pileski. Let's see what he can do as he comes through 3 and 4 for the final time. Off of turn number 4, James Pileski to the line with a 16.316, 18th quick on the charts.
On track now, the 88 of Keith Jeffrey, the shop machine out of Washington. Almost said Wisconsin for a moment. Keith Jeffrey on track now for his first of 2 timed laps. Through turns 3 and 4, Keith Jeffrey, what will he set? First timed lap to 16.305. Now remember, we saw Keith Jeffrey almost come out of nowhere last night in the fun race, and then unfortunately ended up the wrong way for that 88, so he's looking for a much better result tonight. Off of turn number 4, Keith Jeffrey gonna set a 3.35 on the second lap.
Out onto the racetrack now, driving the Souza Media Stint Analyzer T4X, number 96 out of Massachusetts. It's Jeffrey Souza. Just took the green flag, works his way through 1 and 2. The way he's running right now, looks like he's going to go for a lap 1 run here as he works his way through 3 and 4, coming around to take that first lap of qualifying in the books. He's going to put down a 16.367. That's 25th quick thus far. Going to need a pick pickup here on lap number 2. Slid up through 1 and 2, so I do think this is probably going to slot in around a 16.5 or worse at this point for Jeffrey Souza. 16.460, so loses a tenth of a second on lap number 2.
Entering the track now, Bob Belshaw, as he's going to be pulling off here. It looks like he may have gotten a black flag for an unsafe pit entry, is what I'm hearing. But the Minnesota native out of the Team 53 camp was on track for just a moment. Unsure of what's going on right now. I believe he's wanting to pull off and restart his run.
Haven't seen any movement out of Jake Grout yet. He is slated to go off next in line, so we'll see if they allow Belshaw to come back out. Doesn't look like they will here, Nick, as Jake Grout going to come out onto the racetrack in the Ryan Kuhn Motorsports J&S Sales and Service A.W. Clark Builders White's Heating machine out of Vermont. Jake Grout has all the sponsors here tonight, so if you're looking for one, maybe talk to Jake Grout, as he's got a Rolodex of sponsors on that number 49 machine. He's going to come around, take the green flag this time. Great charge down into 1 and 2, working his way down the back straightaway here in Pensacola, Florida. Going to be looking to put himself in the pole shootout in that number 49 machine, the 49 VT. 16.344 on lap number 1. That is 25th quick thus far. Going to need a big pickup here on lap number 2 if he wants to set himself into that pole shootout off of turn number 4 for the final time for Jake Grout. Lots of smoke on pit road there. A 16.420, not any quicker as he goes 25th on the charts.
Spencer Dickinson in the 6 machine, the Shop Elite Performance Industries machine out of North Carolina, hitting the track now for his warm-up lap to come around and start his first time lap. Of course, Spencer Dickinson was in that fun race last night. We saw a lot of action out of that 6 machine. I believe he finished in the top 10 last night, so hoping to do somewhat of the same here and get into that pole shootout. But coming off turn number 2 on his first time lap, looked like a pretty safe 1 and 2. Through turns 3 and 4, Spencer Dickinson in the 6 machine, gonna get a little bit hairy off of turn number 4. 16.307 for his first time lap. That'll put him way outside of the top 10. Lower into the top 20 there for the 6. Through turns 3 and 4 for his second time lap. Looks like a much cleaner 3 and 4 for the 6. Off of turn number 4. The exact same lap time as 16.307. How about that? You don't see that every day.
That's consistency there out of Spencer Dickinson. Out onto the racetrack now, driving the number 8 Chipgrid Auto Parts Helger South Coast Power Equipment Supreme Marketing T4X machine out of Rhode Island. It's Richie Murray gonna look to put himself in the pole shootout. Needs to be in that top 10. 16.995 currently is his quick time thus far on lap number 1. Needs to get up in that 16.28 area if he wants to get himself into the pole shootout. Coming off of turn number 4 for the final time, Richie Murray, a 16.330 to go 24th quick on the boards.
Coming around to start his first lap, the 88 machine of Kyle Meyer, the Shop Elite Performance Industries Fast AF Designs out of Virginia, starting his first time lap, and that honestly really good looking 88 machine through turns 3 and 4. Another clean 3 and 4 there for the 88. 16.275. That'll put him up near the top. That puts him, I believe that's 6th quick there. Not a bad time for the 88. Through turns 3 and 4. Will he set a faster second lap here? Off of turn number 4. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and check it up and be happy with his 2.75.
Yeah, definitely happy with the 2.75 as Jacob Herberts comes out in the number 80 Majulis Setup Shop CFM LeDuc Matthews Racing Machine out of Virginia. Gonna look to get himself into that pole shootout. 16.287 the time to beat currently if he wants to lock himself up into that top 10. Lap number 1 in the book, 16.782. Well, those final 3 numbers are the right numbers, just not in the right order to lock into the the top 10 as Jacob Harbert's going to come around through 3 and 4 for the final time in car number 80. Let's see if he can lock himself into the top 10. 16.245 second quick. He's coming to the pole shootout without a doubt.
And here we see Bob Belshaw making his second attempt at qualifying. The Team 53 machine out of Minnesota starting his first time lap. Of course, we saw him, I believe he got an unsafe pit entry there, or excuse me, pit exit, and was not able to complete his qualifying run the first time around, so they allowed him to join the back of the line and go once again. It looks like that 44 machine setting up for a second lap qualifying attempt here, a 16.909 for his first lap. Through turns 1 and 2, the 44 machine looking for a clean lap, trying to get himself up towards the top 10, maybe get into that top 10 pole shootout later in the night. Off of turn number 4, Bob Belshaw with a 16.426.
On the racetrack now, the Velocity Motorsports number 12 out of Alabama, William Griffith coming around to take the green flag here on his lap for qualifying here today. The current time to beat to get into that top 10 is a 16.287, so that continues to be the benchmark here thus far as William Griffith comes around, sets a 16.567 on lap number 1. Gonna need to pick up 0.3 of a second here on lap number 2 if he wants a shot at that pole shootout. Working his way through 3 and 4. Nice looks like a Christmas theme on that 12 machine. He's going to set a 16.518 to go 40th on the charts for William Griffith.
Hitting the track now, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Kuhn for Ryan Kuhn Motorsports on the track now in that 72 machine. We'll see what this man can set as he's having a little bit of connection issues here, setting up for that second lap. Getting up as close to that wall as he possibly can off of turn number 4. First lap's really not going to matter here as it's a 16.867. Really ripping that paint there in turns 1 and 2. Gets a little bit hairy off of turn 2, but it looks like to be a pretty clean lap here off of turn number 3 and 4. Here comes Ryan Kuhn in the 72 machine. 16.318. Not the lap that Ryan Kuhn wanted.
Absolutely not the lap Ryan Kuhn wanted. Gonna have to come through qualifying night tomorrow night. But out on the racetrack, driving the Souza Media T4X, number 7 out of Massachusetts, it's Kyle Souza. As he works his way down through 3 and 4, coming to take lap number 1 in the books here. Time for Kyle Souza, 16.477. So pretty decent lap number 1 if he's going for that lap 2 approach here. We'll see if he can gain here on lap number 2. Coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. Kyle Souza comes to the line. A little bit of a wiggle there. A 16.427, 39th on the charts for Kyle Souza.
Hitting the track now, the 4, Blake Thronborg, the Zeem Setup Shop Pit Wall Podcast, BT Construction Team 2, ZSS machine out of North Carolina, starting his first time lap here. Through turns 3 and 4, looks like he's setting up for that second lap run here. We're starting to see it more and more as we get further and further down the qualifying order. 16.834 first lap for Blake Thronborg. Going down the back straightaway now. And into turn 3 and 4, looking to just have a clean turns 3 and 4. Looks pretty clean to me off of turn number 4. Blake Thronborg setting a 2.85. That'll put him up near the top 10, if not in the top 10.
Looks like it will put him up around that top 10 as Trevor Edwards comes out onto the racetrack in the Elite Performance Industries. Justin Brooks Designs Cotto captures the shop number 32 out of Kentucky. It's Trevor Edwards. We saw Edwards last night in the weekly series shootout. Oh, as he goes 9th quick on lap number 1 with a 16.281. I was just going to mention Trevor Edwards kind of came out of nowhere last night in that weekly shootout. Started, I believe, towards the rear, was able to pop himself into the picture and was able to work that high side really well as he gets a 16.305 on lap number 2. Still 9th quick for Trevor Edwards.
Hitting the track now, Matt Wolf in the Zero machine, the H&H Sign & Supply, SARA Next Gen Templates, T4X machine out of Maine. Setting his first time lap now, looking for a really clean 3 and 4. Got a little bit loose off of turn number 2 there. Seems to be a genuinely clean lap here. crossing the line at 16.323. Is going through turns 1 and 2, getting a little bit higher than we've seen other people do off the corner. But it seems to be working for that Zero machine coming up off of turn 4 for his second time lap. Matt Rolfe gonna set a 3.84, and that'll put him just outside the top 10.
Out onto the racetrack now, driving the number 9 Apex Industries Jeremy Libick photography machine out of Wisconsin. It's Colin Murphy. Just took the green flag here to start his qualifying run. Gonna have to get in the mid to low 2s here to work his way into the pole shootout. Gonna go for that second lap approach as well as he cooks the high side here on lap number 1. Lap number 1 in the books with a 16.886 for Colin Murphy. Gonna need to gain just over 0.6 of a second to lock into that pole shootout, coming down into turn 3 for the final time. Colin Murphy off of turn number 4 to the line. It's a 16.322 for Colin Murphy, 26th on the charts. Not quite quick enough to lock into the pole shootout.
Heading the track now, the 0-8 is Steven Denmark, the Shed, Elite Performance Industries, Corey Bottle Motorsports, 1-8 Racing Media machine out of Alabama, starting his first time lap, heading down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. Looks like Denmark going to go ahead and set up for that second lap. And is that a Cadillac template on that car? I think that is a Cadillac. That's one of the more interesting. Yeah, that is a Cadillac template, but that's one of the more interesting ones I've seen. 6.85 for his first lap, one of the faster first laps we've seen for people setting up for that second lap. Off of turn number 4, a 3.48 for Steven Denmark.
On the racetrack now, driving the number 16 Boyd's Automotive RKM setup shop, Kyle Storm Racing, Ryan Kuhn Motorsports machine out of Pensacola, Florida. It's Rocky Boyd III. Just took the green flag here to begin his qualifying run. Going to come down the back straight away. Let's see what he can do here on lap number 1 of qualifying. Again, have to be in the mid to low 2s to lock into the pole shootout. Hits the wall on lap number 1. That's definitely not going to help his lap here. That the worst part of hitting the wall off of turn number 4, it messes up lap number 1, messes up your approach to lap number 2. So I'm not expecting big things here to Rocky Boyd on lap number 2 as he comes across the line. 16.341, 34th quick on the charts for Rocky Boyd.
Hitting the track now, the 23 of Dallas Pataska, the Legacy Esports machine out of Wisconsin, setting up for his first lap. That 23 machine looking mighty nice with that red paint scheme. Through turns 3 and 4, setting up for that second lap run here. Going to go all the way up to the top line, get that really good run off the corner. First lap's going to be a 17.060. Of course, not expecting much out of that first lap. Gets a little bit loose out of turn 2. Doesn't seem to matter that much as going through turns 3 and 4. It looks a lot cleaner. Coming up off of turn 4, Dallas Pataska with a 16.380.
Out onto the racetrack now in that bright orange number 16 machine, sponsored by LaPlante Racing Products, Asphalt Engineering, Rob Belcher Snap-on, the Noah Boucher Motorsports number 16 out of Massachusetts. It's Noah Boucher. Coming down the back straightaway into turn number 3, coming to take the end of lap number 1, taking the white flag here on his qualifying run, 16.371 for lap number 1. That puts Noah Boucher 39th quick on the charts. Going to be looking for a rather big pickup here on lap number 2. Boucher off of turn number 4 for the final time, coming to the line. Noah Boucher with a 16.336, does gain on lap 2, but 34th quick.
Hitting the track now, Aaron Johnson in the shop, Elite Performance Industries, Edwards Inflatables, Fast AF Designs out of Alabama. The 78 machine of Aaron Johnson starting his first time lap. Getting a little bit loose out of turn number 2 there, but he's going to be setting up for that second lap anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Out of turn number 4, going to be starting his second time lap. First time lap is a 16.944. Once again, not really meaning much as it is the first lap, setting up for a second lap run, going down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Looked like a really clean 1 and 2, and it looks like an even cleaner 3 and 4 off of turn number 4. Aaron Johnson gonna set a 16.311.
3 cars to go on the racetrack now. The 06 T Rice HD on YouTube, Velocity Motorsports Oklahoma driver. It's Tyler Rice. Rice coming around to finish up lap number 1 this time. Just a few cars to go. Like I mentioned, now's the time you need to lock in to that top 10 if you want a chance at the pole. He goes to 52nd on the charts with a 16.762. Looking for a massive gain here on lap number 2 for Tyler Rice. Coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. Off of turn number 4, Tyler Rice coming to the line. It's going to be a 16.522. That keeps him 52nd on the charts.
Hitting the track now, Brian Tedeschi, the Posse EPYK Media Loco Toco Designs Toby Race Products out of Indiana, the 29 machine. Starting his first lap, going down the back straightaway and into turns 3 and 4, looking for a really good lap. Off of turn number 4, it gets a little bit squirrely, but it seems to keep clean as a 3.63 for the first lap out of that 29 machine. Through turns 1 and 2, once again, gets a little bit hairy off of 2, but it seems like it's not really ruining his flow. Through turns 3 and 4, and off of turn number 4 now, Brian Tedeschi off of turn number 4 with a 3.53, actually improving on the second lap, something we haven't really seen that much tonight.
Slated to go out next, and here he comes off of pit road, driving the number 13 Connell Captures Elite Performance Industries Rocket Race1wraps. Number 13 for the shop out of South Carolina. It is last night's winner of the weekly series shootout, Josh Connell. And I do believe they're going to allow the 31 of Brad Carpenter to go out after Josh Connell to set his time, so that would be the final driver of the evening here. Connell going to come around to finish up lap number 1 here in that 13 machine. 16.259, fourth quick on lap number 1 for Josh Connell. He's going to go for lap number 2, but definitely doesn't need to, as he has very easily locked into the pole shootout, coming across the line for the final time. 16.299. So 2 very quick laps for Josh Connell.
Hitting the track, last and certainly not least, the Bob's Pet and Pond Ryan Kuhn Motorsports machine out of Idaho, Brad Carpenter in the 31 machine. Starting his first time lap, going down the back straightaway here. And into turn 3 and 4, just looking to get a lap time down. Off of turn number 4, Brad Carpenter going to set a 16.338. And that looks like it may be his only lap.
Well, Nick, I do believe that will bring an end to qualifying here for the for tonight's event. We still have to work on the pole shootout, but the way that's going to work is we're going to take the top 10 from single car qualifying, fully invert the field, and then run 50 laps. All green flag racing caution laps do not count to set the field for the top 10 of the Fall Brawl 250. So that lineup should look like this: Trevor Edwards, Josh Parrish, followed by the 81 machine of Kyle Meyer, the 60 of Parker Travs, the 30 of Joe Schaefer Jr., the 50 of Riley Stenjum, the 13 of Josh Connell, the 31 of Chase Robertson, the 80 of Jacob Harberts, and the 1 of Alex McCollum. A bit of money on the line for those drivers as well. And speaking of money, $25 has been awarded to Alex McCollum as the quickest car here in time trials.
I tell you what, Robert, you take a look at Alex McCollum's lap time compared to the rest of the field and just look at the gap in the times. That's what, almost 0.04 of a second, and you don't see that anywhere else throughout the field. Matter of fact, you look down the majority of the field, and that's split by thousandths of a second, let alone hundredths of a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Alex McCollum had under the hood of that number 1 machine, but, you know, the number on the side of the car did correspond with the number on the scoring tower here tonight, and that driver very quick. Looks like he's standing by in the waiting room, so why don't we go ahead and pull him up here, have a quick chat about his qualifying run, and maybe he'll give us a couple hints about his qualifying. Alex McCollum, it's Robert Hill Jr. and Nick Stein up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Alex, you were quickest by a wide margin here in qualifying today. You want to share any of your secrets, any tips for us?
I don't know if I could do that. I mean, the boys worked really hard at the shop. I mean, that setup was pretty bad fast. Jinx Pill, pretty good setup there, but it pretty much comes down to nerves and who can kind of control their nerves and hit the line pretty good. I mean, I felt fairly confident, but that I don't know how I pulled that lap out.
Yeah, definitely looked like you had a very steady wheel in qualifying. That definitely plays a big part in your run as well. Like you mentioned, the guys back at the shop did a great job of putting that machine together. And before I throw you to Nick Stein, I do want to ask you, we're heading to the pole shootout here. You're going to be starting at the tail of that pole shootout with the invert. How do you feel about your chances of working your way forward and finishing at the top of that pole shootout?
Um, honestly, a lot of fast guys in this pole dash, so just gonna have to take it lap by lap. But um, we're in the show. Honestly, I don't care where I start right now. We're in the show, and I feel really good about the race setup. So I felt way more confident in the race setup than the qual set. So we should be really good Thursday.
That definitely says a lot when you have more confidence in your race setup than your qualifying setup, showing what you did here in qualifying. But I'm going to throw you over to Nick Stein, see if he has any questions for you.
Yeah, Alex. I mean, the only thing I got for you is, man, how does it feel knowing that the majority of this field tonight was split by thousandths of a second, and then you just casually go out and beat the field by 400ths of a second? How does that feel heading into the race?
I mean, it feels really good. Um, Knowing I was a little iffy about qualifying, but honestly, I think a lot of people would just let the nerves get the best of them, and they messed up a little bit. I mean, you saw Kuhn; he messed up pretty bad, and now he's to run a heat race tomorrow. So, I mean, he's probably gonna be the guy to beat Thursday. So, it just comes down to who makes a mistake and doesn't. And luckily, I didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a mistake-free run there, Alex. Before we let you go, get set for the pole shootout. Any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I gotta thank all the boys at the shop, all the work they put in the last week. So, I mean, they worked their tails off, and everybody did a really good job. Hopefully, we can get the rest of the guys in tomorrow night. I gotta thank everybody at EPI, the shop, Reckless Society, JDR Graphics, and you guys for doing this, and Matt for putting the event on.
Well, congratulations on your quick time here in time trials tonight. Best of luck in the pole shootout, and maybe we'll be talking to you in just a bit.
Thank you, and hopefully.
Absolutely. Best of luck, Alex. That was Alex McCollum. Quick time here in the time trials. Now, as we mentioned, we do have the pole shootout coming up, so we're going to step away for a couple minutes here on Maconi Entertainment, work our way over to that pole shootout session. But be sure to stay tuned here. Lots of action still to come right here for the SARA Fall Brawl 250 Pole Night. And we are back here. It's time for the pole dash to set the top 10 for the 9th annual H&H Science Supply Fall Brawl here at the SARA Sim Racing League. Again, my name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me, Nick Stein, and on the controls tonight, it's cousin Christian Hill pushing the ones and twos. Nick, we just saw single car qualifying, and it was Alex McCollum going quick time on the charts there. But while we were away, we picked up a little bit of massive, maybe iRacing related news. Why don't you share with us what we just learned?
Well, according to Insider Gaming and Motorsport Games itself, IndyCar has officially terminated their deal with Motorsport Games. So some absolutely massive sim racing news there. Motorsport Games no longer having an exclusive rights deal with IndyCar. So hopefully that means some good news in terms of iRacing, but it is so good to see that that deal is done.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the last, well, I think it's 8-9 months, we haven't really been able to broadcast that car at all here on iRacing, and we've kind of been having to call it Delar car or redacted car. It's IndyCar again, boys. Let's obviously we got to wait and see if iRacing can get that licensing agreement, or at least the exclusivity is eliminated and we're able to show those cars again. But definitely an exciting development here tonight that we're able to share with you right here on Maconi Entertainment. It looks like we have a couple minutes left before we get underway with the pole dash. Looking at the practice session we have underway here, Kyle Meyer and Jacob Harberts putting down some quick times. We're going to see if we can get a driver or two in for an interview before we get going here. But Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit more about this pole dash and the format we're looking at here tonight?
Well, of course, the pole dash tonight is the top 10 people, or excuse me, top 10 times in the qualifying order we just saw about 15 minutes ago. And as it says right there, the top 10 lock into the Fall Brawl 250. This race is just going to set the order of the top 10. So the top 10 that were taken from that poll, or that that qualifying we saw earlier, they're going to be inverted. So Alex McCollum is going to start 10th position in this race, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be, I believe it's going to be an average between your finishing position in the top 10 of the time trials and your finishing here in the pole dash. So basically your average taken out of that is going to be your starting position. I think that's how it works. That may not be true.
So just to read the official wording, because well, this is the official wording, so that's how it works from the folks over at SARA. The combined results from time trials and the pole dash will determine the starting lineup for the top 10 cars. The lowest combined total will earn the pole award, and tiebreakers will be based off of time trials. So I'm guessing we're taking average finish from qualifying and this pole dash tonight to set the lineup. And to set the lineup further on back from 11th to the rear, tomorrow night, same time right here on Maconi Entertainment and on Facebook, Twitch, and wherever else you might find us. We're going to have some heat races and last chance qualifiers. So another great night of racing action coming at you here. And I just heard from Matt Rolfe that we will not have any drivers coming over for pre-race interviews. Drivers focusing in on their setups and any tweaks that they need to do here tonight. You did just see Maconi Entertainment logo up on the screen there. Be sure to reach out to us for any of your broadcasting needs. We'd be glad to talk with you, put a package together, and see what we can do to bring the action to those fine folks at home. Why don't we run through a couple of our sponsors here as well? H&H Sign Supply, once again, the presenting sponsor of the Fall Brawl. Whether you're a professional graphic artist who needs vinyl sign making supplies or you're a crafter with a big project, H&H Sign Supply can fulfill your needs for inkjet, printable vinyl, wide format printers, sign blanks and stakes, banners, cutters, and so much more. Visit them at hhsignsupply.com and use code SARA15 for 15% off your order. Race1wraps, also a sponsor of this event. Race1wraps is a full-service design entity specializing in full-color wraps, vinyl lettering, and apparel printing and distribution. Visit them at race1wraps.com for more information. The folks over at Cotto Captures presenting the best appearing scheme here in the event. Cotto Captures is an iRacing photography company that'll capture high-quality photos of any car or paint scheme you want. Message the Cotto Captures Facebook page for high-quality photos of your car. And of course, SARA Next Gen templates. Get the most accurate next gen manufacturer graphics for your iRacing super late model or late model stock, complete with the 5-star decals and realistic shading for the Mustang, Camaro, and Camry. Templates available for purchase at racesara.com. Looks like we are getting set here. The field out on the racetrack. Why don't we take a look at the starting grid here for the pole dash? And like we mentioned, an invert from the qualifying earlier here tonight. Rolling off of the pole, the driver of the number 32 machine, Trevor Edwards, alongside Josh Parrish in car 55, starts second. Kyle Meyer in the 81 machine rolls off third alongside Parker Travis in the number 60 machine. Rounding out the top five, Joe Schaefer in car number 6. Nick, why don't you take us through the rest of the field?
Well, the one car of Riley Stingham is going to be starting in 6th position tonight, with Josh Cottle starting in 7th. The 31 of Chase Robertson starting 8th tonight, with Jacob Harbert starting in 9th in the 80. And of course, rounding off the field tonight, the 11 of Alex McCollum, the 1 of Alex McCollum taking 10th position.
As the field works their way around the racetrack, we're going to get set to go green. Once again, Trevor Edwards, your pole car here tonight. He will control the restart, or the initial start, from the inside. On the outside of him here, once again, that is Josh Parrish, as the pace car looks like he's going to get set to do another lap on the racetrack. Give these drivers a chance to pull their belts tight, make sure the steering wheel is not going to fall off the rig. I've had that happen a couple times, and that's not very fun, as these drivers looking to work their way to the front of this pole dash and set themselves up for a nice starting spot when it comes to the Fall Brawl 250, which is coming to you right here on Maconi Entertainment Thursday night. And that's definitely going to be an exciting show. As we take a look here, waiting for that pace car to work his way pit side. There he goes, Trevor Edwards, the control car. He's on the loud pedal, green flag, and we're underway here. 50 laps of action, all green flag racing coming at you here tonight for the pole dash. Taking a look already here, clearing up to second is that, I believe that's the 55 machine of Josh Parrish falling back through the field, as the Meyer machine works his way up to second here early on, Nick.
Yeah, we saw this last night in that weekly series race, that outside line just going absolutely nowhere, and it seems like it's gonna be another overarching theme tonight as, of course, Josh Parrish starting 2nd position tonight. He's already back to 5th, and it is getting getting turned off of turn number 2. Caution on the racetrack. Josh Parrish getting turned off of turn number 2.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Josh Parrish struggling early on, has fallen back in this one, ended up going for a spin. Caution number 1 out here early in the H&H Signs SARA Fall Brawl pole dash, and that is the 55 of Josh Parrish that has gone around. And again, folks, just a reminder, only green flag laps will count in tonight's event.
Bit of an interest. Looking at the replay here, coming up, actually waiting on the replay here, but honestly, it's a lot of what we expected there, Robert. Taking a look at the replay here. Off the rear end of the 55 of Josh Parrish, just a little bit of the 60 may have wanted to go 3 wide for just a moment there, and it immediately thought better of it, but of course he couldn't check up in time. But as I was saying, honestly, a lot of what we expected so far to start this race, that outside line not really going anywhere, and then that turning into a bit of a Cosentino effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunate there for Josh Parrish going around. Looked like Parker Travs, like you mentioned, tried to go 3 wide. Luckily for Alex McCollum, who was on the inside, didn't look like he got any contact with that 55 of Josh Parrish. As you look at the weather on the screen here, partly cloudy, 73-degree air temperature, track temp of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So rather brisk day in Pensacola, Florida. Was expecting it to be a little bit hotter, but these drivers may be wearing a light sweater out of the race car.
Yeah, a little bit of a brisk day, as you said, and I mean, you take a look around the country, it's a lot cooler than average compared to what we're used to seeing in parts of November. I mean, you take a look at this weekend, the Formula One going to Las Vegas, it's supposed to be in the 50s during the race, so those drivers may need a sweater as well.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be cold racing, and starts really late as well in Vegas. But going to be an interesting race to follow along. As this race here looks like we're going to go green this time by. It's going to be Trevor Edwards, Kyle Meyer on the front row. Trevor Edwards, the control car, going to opt to take the inside here. He's got Schaefer starting right behind him as the green flag is out, and we are back underway. Trevor Edwards on the loud pedal. Kyle Meyer up on the high side. He has company already. That's the 6 machine of Joe Schaefer Jr. down on the inside, side by side through turns 3 and 4. Off of turn number 4, Meyer with the advantage. Actually, Schaefer with the edge at the line. They continue side by side for 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th side by side as well. We're 2 by 2, basically all the way back through the top 10.
120-mile-an-hour pace laps here at Five Flag Speedway is now the 98 of Kyle Meyer, or excuse me, the 88 of Kyle Meyer, starting to get stuck on that outside, just like we saw the 55 of Josh Parrish do earlier to start this race. And that's not somewhere you want to be, is what I'm learning very, very quick here at Five Flags. You do not want to be stuck on that outside, because things can go awry. It's almost a little bit of contact there. A little bit further back, that was the 13 of Chase Robertson, and I believe Josh Cottle is well involved in that. As now they are 3 wide here, 3 wide further back in the field. I believe this is for 5th position here. Josh Cottle sitting it through the middle, 3 wide. He's over here saying that outside line may not work for any of you normies, but I'm going to go ahead and make it work myself.
Josh Cottle not afraid to make anything work here, as he's going to work his way on that high side. You know, you mentioned that things were going awry for the Kyle Meyer machine. He slapped the outside wall coming to the start-finish line right as that battle was happening towards the rear of the field. So the 88 machine of Meyer falling all the way to the tail of the field, currently scored a 9, just ahead of Parrish, who was up towards the front of the field a little bit earlier. Side by side here, Josh Cottle and Alex McCollum side by side. That's for, I believe, the 7th position. McCollum on the inside, Cottle up on the high side. Cottle the winner last night. McCollum the quick driver in time trials here tonight. As Cottle continues up top, Alex McCollum on the bottom, getting a push there from Parker Travs. Alex McCollum going to clear ahead of Josh Cottle. Travs going to come through. Cottle going to get to the rear end of that machine as we get back to single file here. 11 laps in the books, still 39 to go for Trevor Edwards out front.
Yeah, we were seeing last night Josh Cottle and Alex McCollum had a pretty good battle going for about 15 or 20 laps last night. Of course, that ended awry for the one of Alex McCollum, who ended up finishing, I believe, just outside the top 10 last night in that weekly sprint race. So, of course, that one machine looking for a better result here tonight. And he's already working his way up through the field, sitting in 6th position now. Remember, he started 10th position in this race. Of course, only 14 laps in. He's still got a little bit of work to do before we hit that lap 50 mark. But looking back up front here, Trevor Edwards now having to defend from the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. And now this battle's starting to get a little bit heated as the 6 Schaefer's going to look to the inside. He will get to the inside of Trevor Edwards, side by side for the lead here, as now Edwards stuck on that outside. And Jacob Harbards is going to have the popcorn seat here for this battle, as these two are fighting tooth and nail. These two may be fighting for position right now, but that's just allowing Chase Robertson and the 77 of Riley Stingham to catch up to this battle as well. Still side by side for the lead heading down into turn 3.
Trevor Edwards on the high side. Schaefer down on the inside. Joe Schaefer Jr. doing a nice job. He started this race in the 2nd spot, so that is a great battle we have for the race lead. The driver right behind them in car number 80, Jacob Harbert, started 9th in this race here, already up to that 3rd spot. And like you mentioned, this battle for the race lead has allowed the drivers in 4th and 5th to work their way forward as they're getting a little bit sketchy there. That is the 31 of Chase Robertson and the 1 of Riley Stingham. Robertson on the high side, Stingham down low as they continue side by side. Now side by side for 2nd, back to single file. Trevor Edwards falls back to 3rd. Jacob Harbards works his way to 2nd. Now he's got his sights set on Joe Schaefer Jr., your race leader here, coming to lap number 20 already.
Yeah, I got a little bit of fight going on further back. That was Chase Robertson and Alex McCollum side by side for just a moment. McCollum getting it in front of the 31 of Chase Robertson, and now Parker Travs trying to attack that 31. And people may be wondering why these guys are racing so hard. You got to remember, this is setting the lineup for the 250 miler, as Parker Travs is going to get a little contact from the 31 there, get a little bit loose off of turn 2, but he keeps it straight. Amazing save there from the 68. But as I was saying, this is setting the starting order for the top 10 of the 250 miler on Thursday night. So these guys are racing a lot harder than they would want to.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, these drivers obviously trying to set that top 10, start as close to the front as they can. 250 laps in that one, definitely going to be a long race, and you want to limit the amount of spots that you have to gain throughout the event. If you could start at the front, you're going to want to stay at the front, and that's what these drivers are trying to do. I'm watching Alex McCollum here closing that gap in on Riley Stingham. Stingham currently scored in that 4th spot. McCollum started back in 10th, trying to work his way forward as Stingham looks to the inside of Trevor Edwards, not able to get there that time. You're going to keep that in mind and see what he can do with just over half the race to go. But Alex McCollum started in 10th, mentioned to us before the race that he was more confident in his race setup than he was his qualifying setup, and currently showing that setup very strong as he's trying to hold off that 31 of Chase Robertson while also chasing down Riley Stingham to work his way forward.
Halfway flag in the air now for these drivers. I do think this is where we're going to see the intensity start to pick up. Right as I say that, Riley Stingham getting to the inside of the 32 of Trevor Edwards, side by side for 3rd position here. Stingham just barely getting even there. Maybe a little bit of contact between the two. Wow, really close here at 5 Flag Speedway. They somehow keep it out of both each other and the outside wall, but this race still getting more and more aggressive. That's allowing Alex McCollum to get up to the rear end of these two, and knowing Alex McCollum, he may not, he wouldn't be scared to send it 3 wide here.
Oh, absolutely not. 3 wide definitely in the cards here tonight. Stingham on the inside, Edwards on the outside. Now McCollum gonna come to the inside. Nearly contact there between Stingham and Edwards, as that could have been really bad for Riley Stingham. Nearly hooked himself off the nose of that 32 of Trevor Edwards. Edwards now on the high side of Alex McCollum. McCollum gonna work his way through, clears that 32 of Edwards. Now Edwards on the outside of Robertson. They're gonna be side by side for that 6th spot. Trevor Edwards going in the wrong direction here. Started on the pole, falling all the way back now outside the top 5, and going to be under fire here from Parker Travs and Chase Robertson, with Josh Cottle as well. As Travs looks 3 wide. He's going to come back to 2 wide with Trevor Edwards. Edwards on the high side of Chase Robertson. Robertson got a little bit loose there as they continue that side-by-side battle for position number 5.
Yeah, it looks like Chase Robertson may get clear going into the corner. He will. And now we look to the car behind him, and Parker Travs in that 60 machine, as now he's to the inside of Trevor Edwards in that 32 machine. As you mentioned, that 32 going absolutely nowhere. Matter of fact, going the wrong way. Again, as you mentioned, 1st to 6th in the span of about 30 laps for that 32. So we'll have to see if he can get it going once again. But for now, not anywhere near where Trevor Edwards wants to be.
Absolutely not. As I'm taking a look at Alex McCullum closing that gap on Riley Stenjum, every couple of corners he's able to get right to the rear bumper of that number 1 machine of Riley Stenjum. 77 actually on the door of that one. Alex McCullum trying to work his way forward as Trevor Edwards continues that descent through the field. Now finds himself 9th after getting passed by Kyle Meyer and Josh Cottle. The only driver behind him is Josh Parrish, and Parrish, of course, was involved in our early incident here today, so his tires took a little bit of a hit on that 55 machine. Still going to start in the top 10 for the feature here tonight, but unfortunately for him, definitely going to have a bit more work to do unless he gets a caution with just 14 laps remaining. Joe Schaefer Jr., Jacob Harberts, Riley Stenjum, Alex McCullum, and Chase Robertson, your top 5.
Yeah, a lot of these guys did have to come from the back, as no one in your top 5 even actually only one car in your top 5 even started in the top 5, and that's your leader of Joe Schaefer Jr., who started 5th. And you take a look at the rest of your top 5. Jacob Herbert started 9th. He's up in 2nd. Riley Stenjum started 6th. He's in 3rd. Alex McCullum started 10th. He's in 4th. And Chase Robertson started in 8th. He's in 5th right now. So a very diverse top 5 compared to what we had starting this event tonight. But of course, it's short track racing there for you. So, and these are the best of the best when it comes to this short track
Josh
style of
Cottle
racing.
around on the back straightaway.
Josh Cottle sideways.
Contact with Chase Robertson. Cottle goes around on the inside. Cautions out here on lap 39. Just 11 laps remaining here, and it's Cottle, last night's winner, going around here on lap number 39. We'll take a look at it here momentarily on the Maconi Entertainment replay machine and see what happened to Josh Cottle in the 13 side by side with Chase Robertson. Very tight racing. You see down the front straightaway here into turn 1 and 2. Not sure if Cottle comes up or Robertson comes down. Yeah, Robertson comes down there into the side of the 13 of Josh Cottle, sends Cottle around. No further contact for either driver, but definitely unfortunate there for Cottle, and something he's probably not going to be too happy about and may hold in the memory bank when it comes to that main event on Thursday.
Yeah, of course, that's something that these short track guys know all too well, is having really good memories when it comes to people who have wronged you. But
Absolutely.
honestly, knowing Josh Cottle, I don't expect that from him. He's one of those guys that really doesn't hold that many grudges. So you could be right in saying that he could expect something. Chase Robertson could, but again, I don't expect anything like that. These guys do know how to race each other very cleanly.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to go out and wreck him. Maybe race him a little bit harder. Maybe not let him by as easily if it comes to it. Of course, Chase Robertson getting an EOL as the cause of that one, so he's going to fall to the tail of the field. The beneficiary of that one, of course, the 55 of Josh Parrish, able to work his way up to 8th, so gains 2 spots under that caution. But taking a look at that Josh Cottle machine, that's definitely a stunning paint, as we're going to ride on board with the safety car.
Hey, man, this is prime seat in the house, man. You don't see anyone in front of you. That's the perfect view if it's
Absolutely.
me out there. But hey, that's just me.
Well, he's got some hungry cars behind him there, and You know, now this gives an opportunity to re-rack the field. Joe Schaefer Jr., Jacob Harberts, Riley Stingham, Alex McCullum, Parker Travs. That's the top 5, followed by it's going to be Trevor Edwards, Kyle Meyer, Josh Parrish, Josh Cottle, and of course, Chase Robertson. As we're back under green, Joe Schaefer Jr. on the loud pedal. We look at the battle side by side for third. It's Parker Travs on the inside of that 80 of Jacob Harbert's big beneficiary on this restart. Riley Stingham, as he's able to work his way up to second as the side by side continues for third.
Side by side here, Jacob Harbert's on the outside, Riley Stingham on the inside. Or excuse me, no, that's Parker Travs on the inside. Apologies, got my numbers mixed up there. The 60 is on the inside, that's Parker Travs. There we go, I'm getting it down. Just give me a couple more laps and I'll have it. But now Alex McCullum looking to the inside of the 80 of Jacob Harbert's there. And this is going to be where our battle is for the majority of the rest of the race if this doesn't clear up soon, as these guys are within 10 laps to go now, coming to 8 laps to go.
8 laps remain. Contact there between the 80 of Jacob Harberts and the 1 of Alex McCullum. They come together there through 1 and 2. Just some tight short track racing there. And McCullum still on the inside. Harberts still holding that outside lane. But taking a look briefly back up front, Joe Schaefer Jr. has Riley Stingham running him down here, as now Trevor Edwards takes to the inside of Jacob Harberts. Edwards was going in the wrong direction earlier on here tonight. Now trying to work his way back up into that top 5. So maybe a bit of a benefit with that caution for Trevor Edwards, as he's going to slide up on the racetrack a little bit nearly into the side of Jacob Harberts, as they're going to come around and take just 5 laps to go here, Nick.
Coming up off of turn 4, Riley Stingham actually has a little bit of a run here on the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. And coming up off of turn 2, it's going to get even closer now. These two are side by side. If we're looking at off the back here of Alex McCullum, before this battle for 5th position, as Trevor Edwards still working on trying to get clear of that 80 of Jacob Harberts. But this battle up front, though, is looking on getting spicy, as now, right as I say it, they start to lengthen out a little bit in terms of the gap.
Gap at the line 0.17, so a tenth separating Riley Stingham and Joe Schaefer Jr. That's your top 2, as Parker Travs has worked his way up to that 3rd spot. Stingham really closing the gap here as we come to 2 to go. Popsicle sticks in the air this time. Joe Schaefer Jr., your leader, ahead of Riley Stingham. They're going to face the white flag this time by Nick Stein.
Going through turns 3 and 4, coming to the white flag. Riley Stingham getting a really good run off the corner, looking to the inside of the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. Side by side for the lead on the white flag lap here. Riley Stingham to the inside of Joe Schaefer Jr. going into turn 3 and 4. Will it get physical? They're keeping it clean, though, but coming off of turn 4, looks like we're going to have a bit of a photo finish here. It's going to be Joe Schaefer Jr.
Wow, Joe Schaefer Jr. wins the pole dash ahead of Riley Stingham, Parker Travs, Alex McCullum, and Jacob Harberts. That's your top 5, followed by Trevor Edwards, Josh Cotto, Kyle Meyer, Josh Parrish, and Chase Robertson. The 6th machine of Joe Schaefer Jr. gonna go and burn it down, celebrate his pole dash victory here tonight. And he's not even gonna burn it down. He's just gonna take it back to the line and send it back to the truck. One nice thing here, though, Nick, for these guys is now they don't have to race tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's really going to help them. Is that's not only going to save what they actually have in terms of setup, but it's going to allow them to further how good their setup's going to be as well for the Thursday night main event. So these guys getting really, really lucky being able to go ahead and skip over the qualifying night tomorrow. That's going to set the rest of the order.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, it's going to give these guys an opportunity to fine-tune those setups. This is, for a lot of them, the first chance, or maybe the second if they were in last night's race. Some of them didn't qualify for that weekly shootout. But that was the first opportunity to race with those setups and see what they really had. So these guys now going to take the opportunity to do a little bit of tweaking, see what they can do with their setups to maybe find that extra bit of speed to work their way forward. We're just waiting on our top three to come on over and have a quick chat with us. Looks like we have our race winner, Joe Schaefer Jr., standing by in the transfer room. Why don't we go ahead and bring him up and get some of that raw emotion out of the driver of the six? Joe Schaefer, it's Robert Hill Jr., Nick Stein up here in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Joe, you ran yourself a fantastic race there. The only driver from the top five that was really able to hang in the top five for the majority of the event. Why don't you walk us through that one and maybe give us a little bit of a hint as to what you had that gave you that upper hand here tonight?
I just abused it. I knew it was only 50 laps and there didn't have to save anything. And it's a lot easier to test for a race like this when you just can, make your fastest piece. And I think Riley Stenjum would have been, if he would have wanted it at the end there, he could have had me. But he took it easy on me. And when you got Ty Majeski working on the car for you, you better show up and drive it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you do have a top-notch driver like Ty Majeski working on your car, definitely got to show it off. But looking ahead to Thursday night's Fall Brawl, obviously you get tomorrow night off now, which gives you an opportunity maybe to do some tweaking on the setup, maybe run some extra practice. But what are you thinking ahead of Thursday's race? How do you feel? You think you have a good shot at taking the victory in that one?
I think we have a really good car, and with a little bit of luck and some good pit strategy, we'll be there at the end. That's kind of been the battle of the Fall Brawl for the last 5-6 years, is just be there at the end and have the newest tires, or at least be on the right sequence. So we'll see what happens. We got enough people here helping out, enough guys working together. Hopefully we're there at the end.
Absolutely. I'm going to toss you over to my partner, Nick Stein, and see if he's got anything to ask you here.
I mean, man, that was a really close finish there at the end, man. 31 hundredths of a second. Was there really any doubt at all, or were you fully focused on that finish line in front of you?
I made sure to give him some room. I didn't want to wreck us. I knew I'd have the momentum on the high side, but could kind of tell he had a lot more left than I did. I pushed it pretty hard to try and stay in front of Harberts there for the middle part of the race. It was all eyes forward, and even though the car wasn't handling the way I exactly wanted to right at the end, we made it work, and I was really happy to be in this race and have tomorrow off for sure.
Absolutely. And Joe, you mentioned you have a lot of guys working with you here. Why don't you take this opportunity, give some shout outs, thank some sponsors, everyone that makes it happen for you?
We'll start with Epic Media. Drew Krybeck, he's supposed to be qualifying tonight, but didn't make it into the room. He's always been real supportive of myself and sim racing as a whole. Also, Dr. Noise Custom Paints and everybody at the posse who's kind of been committed this week to making sure we have a good piece.
Well, that is your winner here tonight of the Pole Dash, Joe Schaefer Jr. Once again, congratulations on your great run tonight, and we'll see you Thursday night for the Fall Brawl.
Thank you, guys.
Well, it does look like we have Alex McCullum back with us. Alex came up a little bit short of a podium finish tonight, but with your qualifying effort and your run here in the pole dash, should set you up for a really nice starting spot here when it comes to Thursday night's race. Why don't you walk us through your pole dash here tonight and maybe what you needed to do to get one of those top three spots?
Yeah, those guys just had really good fire off speed, and I was just super tight. I couldn't really do anything on quarter entry, so they had a lot of nose cut, but I was really tight there. I tried something, didn't really work how I wanted it to. I just had no nose cut, but um, I still feel really confident on Thursday, so we'll see how that goes.
And now looking ahead, tomorrow you get the night off. You don't have to go through the qualifiers. You don't have to go through the heat races. What's your plan for you? Are you going to do some practice? You going to do some tweaking of the setup? Or are you just going to sit back, relax, watch the heat races, and get ready for Thursday night's Fall Brawl?
Honestly, probably just take tomorrow and take it easy. Help the rest of the guys and see if we can get the rest of our guys in. That's my focus right now. Um, is to get the rest of us in. So, we're gonna work on the car for them, and they're gonna be dialed up for tomorrow.
Well, you mentioned the rest of your crew, the rest of the guys you got to help get in. Why don't you take this chance, give some shout outs, sponsors you want to thank, and people to help make it happen for you, Alex, once again?
Yeah, I gotta thank everybody at the shop. EPI, JDR Graphics, Matt, everybody that helps out with SARA. It's been around with these guys for years now, and it's always a blast to race with the best of the best. And Matt puts a really good league together. He's fair. He doesn't take any crap, that's for sure. So the racing's clean. I mean, you're racing with the best, so you kind of ask for much more. You guys for broadcasting, and yeah.
Well, Alex, congratulations on a great run here once again tonight, and we look forward to seeing what you can do Thursday night in the Fall Brawl.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that was Alex McCollum, and it looks like that's going to wrap up our interviews here tonight. Nick, before we head off for the evening, any final thoughts from you on what we saw here tonight, what we saw last night, and maybe what we can see for the rest of the week, including those qualifying heats and last chance qualifiers tomorrow?
I mean, yeah, tonight was just an absolute blast to watch. Of course, the time trials, it was more of what we expected, honestly. Things got really, really close for the midfield battle, and I really think that's going to translate into tomorrow's qualifying night with the heats, the LCQs, all of that fun stuff tomorrow night. And I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to be able to call that tomorrow. It is going to be so much fun to be able to watch those guys duke it out to set their starting positions for the main event Thursday night.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's going to be really exciting to see what they can do tomorrow. Qualifying races are going to be 75 laps each. Last chance qualifier, 60 lap each. They will be running simultaneously, so I do believe we're going to pick up one heat and one LCQ for you here on Maconi Entertainment. We're going to do our best to get updates from all of the races to keep you in the loop as to what is going on, but that'll just about do it for us here tonight. But before we head off, we do want to thank tonight's admin team as well as all the sponsors that make the event possible: H&H Signs, SimWrap Market, Race1wraps, Cotto Captures. All those sponsors are responsible in helping to bring the 9th annual SARA Fall Brawl to life. Calling the action tonight was myself, Robert Hill Jr., alongside Nick Stein here in the booth and cousin Christian Hill on the controls. Thanks to all our viewers for tuning in to tonight's racing action, and we do hope to see you tomorrow night for night number 3 of racing in the 2023 SARA Fall Brawl, featuring those qualifying races and LCQs to set the remainder of the field, 11th on back of the field for Thursday night's race. Be sure to stay tuned to Maconi Entertainment social media for all of our upcoming broadcasts so you don't miss a thing. And of course, this has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we'll see you at the checkered flag. Good night, everybody.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.